Hi Flosstube, it's Lisa Smith, Kindred Stitcher. Today is December 19th, and this is a channel about cross stitch and other needlework. So welcome to my channel. If you're new, thanks for swinging by, and if you've been around for a while and hanging out with me, I really appreciate that you came back to say hi again. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about whips that I've been working on and some finishes, and I'm going to show you the finishes from 2021. Now, here's my disclaimer. It's possible that I might miss one. It is. I thought I would show these to you today. And honestly, sometimes when you do these videos or when I do these videos, it is a bit of a rush and life is going on in the background, right? So I just thought it'd be kind of fun to recap and see some of the things that I worked on, because although I didn't have 100 finishes this year, the stuff I worked on was really big. I finished my biggest whip this year and a couple of other large ones. So let's get started. The last time I was here and we were chatting was the weekend before Thanksgiving, and we had a great Thanksgiving. I missed one of my kids. They had to work, and that's the way life goes when you're an adult and you're making your way through life. So otherwise we had a pretty uneventful weekend, but it does, after a while, having, when I used to just having my husband and I, having 7 people in the house, 8 people in the house, 7 for 3 days. I forgot how loud, how loud having kids, even adult kids, can be. So it was nice when everybody left. I had the next week off, but honestly, work was so crazy that I worked quite a bit. In fact, my boss gave me some of my PTO back because I worked 3 full days next week. So then on that following Saturday, actually weekend, I went down and helped my mom put some cabinets together in her laundry room and visited with my family down in Oregon. And then I was going to shoot a video last weekend, but the power went out. So Friday night, it was blowing. It was a pretty good storm here in Washington State. And we lost power around 12:30 in the morning and didn't get it until 2 o'clock on Sunday. Which, I'm not a great power outage person. I find myself bored to tears after a while. I hadn't played solitaire since the last time the power went out, so I had to dig around for the cards so I could play some solitaire. It does, though, give you perspective when you turn on your phone and you see, tornadoes and horrible things happening around the country. So that power outage for a day and a half really was okay. Plus, my husband is handy. We ran a generator in the house and we're able to put on a space heat. Well, we used our tent heater in the house, and we ran in some lights. We were able to kind of manage the cords and plug in the hot water when we needed it and keep the refrigerator going. So all was not lost. Oh, plus we use my iPad, well, it's a tablet, and mirror off the phone or use the phone as a hotspot. So we did watch some Netflix. So it was okay. Got my Christmas shopping done that I've been putting off. So, God has amazing plans sometimes. Makes you rearrange things. All right, so that's what's been going on. And today I'm going to show you the finishes from this year. And I'm going to show you some whips. And then on the next video, which will probably be New Year's Day, I'm going to do a whip parade. I will show you some plans, though, some whips I'm working on and the ones that I'm going to work on the first part of 2022 in this video. And I won't show them again likely in the next video unless I worked on them. Then I'll show you the progress. But I've been stitching, getting stuff done. So let's let me just show you some of the things I've been working on. This is a finish since the last video. This is called, actually, you know what? Let me show you the whips first. No, how am I going to do this? I think I'll show you the finishes first, and then I'll show you the whips, because I'm going to have to do a timeout in the middle of the video. Too much stuff here. So this is a finish since the last video. This is called Pine Cones by Hillside Samplings. And I had previously stitched, and so I sew material along the side so I could put it in my 11 by 17 Q-snap and use it on my lap stand. That's why you see fabrics, just odds and ends fabric. I had previously stitched everything but the pine cones. So the pine cones in the borders and the pine cones hanging down here were what I had to stitch to finish this. Now, why did I put it off for so long? Because these are all specialty stitches. And they weren't hard. They weren't hard. I was easily able, in fact, I'm going to move this just a little bit this way, y'all. I was able to get them done. It just took me a little bit of time to figure it out. And I had used some resources that I had. I used YouTube videos. I actually searched it on the internet because sometimes there are videos on Facebook groups that you can watch or on websites or on blogs that people put on there. So these are, I'm going to come a little bit closer. This is Queen Stitches. Okay, this one, I had to figure this one out, and I actually had to take it out and do it again because it didn't lay right. This one is some sort of a diamond pavilion stitch, I think. This is called Point Oka, O-K-A. This is a wishbone stitch. And then this one is, what was this called? I'll put it below. I don't remember. And then this one is a cross, some sort of a cross. And I'm going to come up a little bit closer. And then these on the outside were called Cretan stitches. So I'm going to just give you a closer picture here. In fact, you know what I'll do? I'll take a picture and I'll insert it right here. So one of these I had to redo a couple of them. I had to redo this one because I had stitched one thread too far on the outside, and you're stitching horizontally. So I had to pull a lot of it out and redo it, which it wasn't hard to pull it out. Not hard to fix it at all. This pavilion stitch, it's a diamond, and it goes, when I looked it up, it goes, it's a satin stitch, 1 3 5 3 1, 1 3 5 3 1. But when I did that with one thread, it looked terrible. It was not good. It didn't have enough coverage, and it didn't have the fullness to it. So I used 2 threads, and I figured out by looking at the pattern that it's 2 2 4 6 4 2 was the repeat on it. So that's this one right here. This, at the end of the day, this was fun to stitch. I do have a button. Oh, I don't know what I do with it. I set it somewhere. Oh, here it is. That I need to put right here. So this will be my chore to do probably tomorrow. I took tomorrow off, and I'm not going to log on my work computer. I'll finish this up here. So you'll see this cute little pinecone button. By the way, this had been stuck on its card for 25 years. That's probably how long since this was manufactured. And so it had some glue on the back. When I pulled it off, the card came with it, and I ended up using a hair dryer to loosen the glue up as much as I could. But I figured out that there was just some imperfections in the back of it's a porcelain button. So I filed it a little bit too. I didn't want to go too hard because I did not want to break this. These can break. So that's the first finish since we last chatted. Now, here's another finish. I'm going to call this a finish for today, but I have a little more work to do on it. This is Pink Snowy Cottage by Mirabilia. And these were on my list of, itchy Flosstube knows, these were on my list of things to finish this year because I did drop my whips down to fewer than 70. 69 whips. So as much as I really would love to start, there's several things I would love to start. I'm not going to. Because I'm a goal-oriented person, and I'm going to hang out. So at the end of the year, that's where I'll be. And then I hope to, by the end of the next year, drop it down into the 40s. That's my goal. But you know me, I've got big whips, so it takes a bit to get these done. Okay, this is where I am. I have this was just so much fun to stitch. Now, I had done the beads on this half before, and so I've stitched this, but I need to bead this. It'll be fine. I'll just do it tomorrow. I also had these snowflakes are done in B5200. Let me show you the thread that it calls for. It calls for this stuff called Arctic Rays. Wispy fringe. I don't know. Super thick thread. It's not, this is a 32 count fabric, and every stitch significantly displaced the fabric threads. So it wants you to put like a herringbone stitch down here. I didn't do that. I didn't do them up. I had started the snowflakes and I just really did not like the way they looked. So I took them out, and this is the way it's going to be, which is beautiful. So a little bit of beading in here tomorrow, and this will be completely done. So that feels great to get some things done on my checking my boxes. I do love a good checkbox list, to-do list. Makes me happy. I was gonna say, those are the recent finishes since the last video. Those two. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about finishes for this year. Some of these you saw earlier in the year, some of these you've seen more recently. I'll tell you what. I'll put these back here. It is what it is, right? You saw this in the last video. This is Peace on Earth Sampler by Cottage Garden Samplings. I'll put the name here. Why can't I think? You get on these videos and you can't remember anything. Cottage Garden Samplings. This is on 46 count weeks mocha. It's not straw, it's mocha. And the colors on this are just, oh, so good. So good. The white just jumps off the page. So I finished that one in November. This is my only December video. Also previously finished, let's see if I can just hold this one up, Hoity Toity by Long Dog. This is stitched on 40 count pecan butter. Can't wait to get this stitched. I've been kind of eyeballing some frames and haven't found one that I really loved. So there's this one. Love her. That is by Long Dog. I also finished Sarah Chapel by Shakespeare's Peddler. This is one where I had cut the top off of the fabric to stitch another project, and I cut it too short. So I had to modify the top part of the border, but I love this one. I've sent recently a blackbird to Patty Nicolosi from Facebook. She does a lot of framing for me to frame. So I don't have that here, but I will insert a picture after I'm done with this one. So this is just, I love this one. There's nothing about this one that I don't love. Yeah, so speaking of the Blackbird Garden Club series, I did finish that one. I had, I think, maybe I had the top row left to do the last video. I think I did the top row, but it went pretty quickly. And I did make a mistake on the top piece that was split on the ends, and you'll see it in the video. I was stitching upside down because as you stitch toward the top, and if you're stitching on a frame, you're reaching below. So it's easier to turn it this way, turn your pattern over and stitch upside down. It's 180 degrees, so your stitch goes the same direction. When I did that, and I was looking at my pattern upside down, what I didn't realize is that the patterns have two legends, one for each part that I split, and I looked at the wrong legend when I stitched one of them. But you know what? It was a happy mistake because it turned out pretty anyway. So I'm going to insert that video clip here. I have a finish. This is my Garden Club series. I've been working on this pretty diligently. It's my blonde in my rotation. I did change colors in this. I do not know which ones I changed because I've been stitching on this all year. This is my adaptation for the location. This actually is the, I switched some colors in this one. And in fact, the lettering is a different color too. So this was all done before. Some of these are split, but some of these are, like this is all one pattern and it's stitched together. And I just finished this one, Lisa Smith's Garden. I finished this top row. And I had to stitch this green 3 times in here. And this one. Okay, so this one and this one were on the same pattern. But by the time I was working on this top row, I was on my Q-snap, using my Q-snap, my 11 by 17, and I had it, I was doing upside down stitching, so I had the Q-snap flipped 180 degrees, and I was stitching this, and I flipped the pattern. But what I didn't realize is that there are 2 legends, one for the left and one for the right. And so I stitched the right in the colorway from the left. They're the same symbols and everything. So, but whatever, I like it. My mom really liked it. She says, "Oh, I really like the way that came out with all the kind of purples." And yes, this was an absolute joy. I enjoyed every single minute of stitching this beautiful piece. It was so much fun to stitch that one. Patty's going to frame it after the first of the year sometime and send it to me. There's no rush. We're all busy this time of year and we need to take time for our families. So I am excited to get that one back. So this one is the Patriot Sampler by Midsummer Night Design. This is available through the Attic. I saw this at the Attic stitched on blue. It was gorgeous. And the pattern itself is almost a black and white. It doesn't show a whole lot of color. I switched the reds on mine. I did some substitutes, and what I saw was that the red I picked was a lot brighter red. So it looks quite different, but I just love this one. It's such a happy sampler. And I will probably get this one framed shortly after the first of the year as well. The last video, when I showed you Hoity Toity, I also had this one finished. This one is Fallen Roses by, it's not Told in a Garden. I think it's Lavender and Lace. It's either Lavender and Lace or Told in a Garden. And I just love the way this looks. It's so pretty. And I did abbreviate. I took a section of the bottom out. And I brought this up and this up and just added a little part of the bottom border to the bottom here. It sort of looks like a bell pull, doesn't it? Like it could be a bell pull. I use seaweed, Gloriana seaweed, for the background thread. It called for a DMC, like a brighter blue, but I really loved this Gloriana seaweed. It's a blue, green, purple variegation, and it's super, super, super pretty. So finished that one. I believe that was an October finish. Oh, hold please. All right, Ann Dale. I want to get this framed, but honestly, it's going to cost me a fortune to do it. So I'm just going to wait a little bit. Ann Dale had the top border and partway down the side and maybe part of the top row done when I picked this up in January. I had worked a bit on it last year. I had just a small start before, but I really worked on the majority of it this year. And I couldn't be happier. This is on 40 count vintage patina by Lakeside. It's not a fabric you see often. In fact, I had to have Acorns and Threads order this for me. Oh, it's not vintage, but oh, it is vintage patina. I ordered just regular patina. And Janine said, well, they gave us vintage patina. Do you like it? And I'm like, I love it. So, Ann Dale, this was my biggest whip. Now she is my biggest finish. There are some smaller finishes. Where did those go? I have a pile of them here. One moment. So I move things around. This was, I think in my last video I showed this one. Did I show you this one? I can't remember. This is Bobbing for Pumpkins by With Thy Needle and Thread. And this is on 18th Century Book. I love stitching this one. It was so much fun. I did change the witch's face and hair because the colors that were called for didn't show up. But it was so much fun to stitch. And I have a fun finish in mind for this one sometime this next year. I also started this one, Floral Heart, oh, for crying out loud, Floral Heart Kit by Samplers Not Forgotten. And I put this on a tag that came with Teresa Kitten Stitchers. I don't know, she stuck it in one of my orders one time and I used it as a floss card. So this just needs to be finished. I think the bow goes where those initials that I put on there are, so I'm not sure where I'm going to put the bow, if I'm going to even put the bow on mine. But this was just gorgeous to stitch. So much fun. Also, I finished a couple of With Thy Needle and Thread patriotic pieces that I started in Stitch Mania. Sorry, I'm going to get the cat hairs on here. I think in 2018 or 19, I can't remember which, but these are, I think this is Where Liberty Dwells. If I'm wrong, I'll put the correct name on the bottom. These will both be smalls, I believe, that I will just make pillows out of, or maybe a flat fold. I'm not sure. Those were fun to stitch. This is on 40 Count Fresco by Picture This Plus, one of my favorite fabrics. This is a Beth Twist design, Stars and Stripes Forever. It was through the Dying to Stitch Club, Ladies Crime Stitch Society Club. That's now no longer a club. But this pattern is available from Heartstring Samplery, and it's called Stars and Stripes Forever. I will make this as a little stocking. And look at that girl. Isn't she adorable? I can't stand it. It's so cute. So there's that one. Then, I know, right? It goes on and on. I think this is always, I'm not very good about the names of these now. Forever and Always, maybe? Plum Street. It came out this year, and it called for Eucalyptus by Fox and Rabbit, which I immediately bought. This is 46 count eucalyptus, so this is kind of small. I kind of like the quaintness of it and the sweetness. In fact, I like it a lot. I'm gonna have to get more of this fabric. This is by Plum Street, and I'm gonna come up a little bit closer for you. I really love the combination of the pinks, reds, and the blues on there. And that house is to die for. Perfect color combination on this. But Paulette, she's got talent. This is Hannah Ann Wallace by With Thy Needle and Thread. This was framed by Patty Nicolosi, and the last one was also framed by Patty Nicolosi. I sent these in at the same time. This one, let's see, what do we do on this one? I think the colors are the called for, and I don't recall the fabric. It looks like a 40 count, I don't know what it is, parchment maybe? This was a motif I just made up and put in there because it was the last motif, and there was a big 1/1 motif that I should have started with. I don't know why I saved it for last, but I wasn't going to do it at that point. Turned out cute anyway. I really like it. And then the last one I have, well, actually, no, there's another one here, is Justice for All. This is by Blackbird Designs. I changed the pattern. There was an alphabet down below that I did not stitch. And I put, this motif was in the alphabet. I pulled it up here. I put the year in here. What else did I do? I think that's it. I'm not sure if this one is still in print or not. I think it might be out of print. I gave it away on my channel on a previous video. Oh, I have another one that was a finish. I finished a Blackbird, I think it's called With Thy Needle. I'll put it down below if it's not called that. I gave it away for the gift exchange at one of the retreats this year. I think it was at the Farm Girl May retreat, the Farm Girl Dry Goods May retreat. I do have a couple pictures though. I'll insert them here. Isn't that sweet? I stitched it over one, and Carol Saltbox Stitcher and I had chatted about that. Wouldn't that be a great design to stitch over one? I thought, well, I'm going to try it. So I did, and it's adorable. It's a whip of mine that I'll finish this next year. And I'm stitching it, because it's kind of a smaller design, I'm stitching it with 2 threads over 2 on probably a 32 count. It's a lot of fun to stitch, but I think I might stitch it for myself again as a pin keep. We'll see. I'm not sure. I got enough to do. I probably don't need to add things to my list right now. I'm going to pause real quick and put these away, and then we'll talk about whips and upcoming plans, and then a little bit of haul. Well, there's haul. Let's be honest, there's haul, but I don't even know where it all is. I don't know. I've got a mess going on here, so I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Still December 19th, which is a good thing. So what I have planned for 2022 is I've taken my list of whips, and I do have an Excel spreadsheet with information on there. I wish I'd started that a couple of years ago. But I picked out 10 projects to focus on from now until about the time Stitch Mania would start. So probably around May 1st. And my intention is to use those 10 whips in a rotation on whenever I want to stitch it. So it's sort of my go-to whip pile out of the 69 whips that I have remaining. And I'm going to do my very best to get through as many of those as I can. That's my goal. I started that because I finished my blonde, which was the Snowy Pink Cottage. And then I finished the brunette, which was Pine Cones. And so I picked up 2 other whips, and I thought, well, sometimes when you have even a blonde and a brunette, say you have a lighter palette and a darker palette, but they're both blues, you can get burned out on stitching blue after a while, especially if your projects are big. So I thought, what do I really want to do? And what do I really want to focus on? So I pulled up the whip list and made some decisions. Now, can that change? Yes, it can change. And I do have sort of a plan that I'll talk about in my whip parade at the end of the month around what am I going to do in May, June, July, sort of what do I have triage for the rest of the year. And will I touch on my whips? Probably not, but that's okay, because if I finish a bunch, then I'll touch more the next year, get more done. So that's my plan. I picked 5 brunettes, and if you haven't been on my channel before, these are projects that have a darker or a richer color palette, and so I call them brunettes. And I balance that by stitching alternately with a blonde, so it's a lighter color palette. And to me, it keeps me engaged. So I was pretty disciplined about stitching 1 week on a brunette, the next week on a blonde, and I was using 2 that I was focusing on, and I was finishing projects. I have given myself a little more freedom. Not that I was terribly restricted, because I really do what I want anyway. But I think this is going to be a great balance for me. So let's just talk about what I have in mind. Here are the 5 brunettes. Now I'm going to talk about these today and show you where I am. A couple of them I've worked on. I won't show these in the whip parade, because my goal with the whip parade is to do it all in one video. Last year I did 3 videos. This year I'm going to do 1. So the first one I have is Mary Griffin. This was a country sampler. What do they call that? Schoolgirl Club, or Country Sampler Schoolgirl Sampler Society Club. Boy, that's a mouthful. And you can see how there's quite a bit of over 1 stitching, but look at how much empty space there is. I really haven't stitched a whole lot on this, and I'm zipping along on the border. So I haven't touched this since whenever this was released and I received it, probably a year ago. Here's where I am. I have stitched part of the bottom, And it might be a little more difficult. Actually, let me see if I can put this on this board, if that will help, because lighting changes throughout the day and the darker pieces are a little more difficult to see. Yeah, that helps some, sure. This is the thread palette for the sampler. And what I love is that sampler border is a teal color. So this fabric, I want to say, is probably fiber on a whim. It's very green. A very country sampler type fabric for them to use. It's rich, it's dark, it's primitive, and very much in keeping with what they choose for colors. You can see that pinkish color, which might be sanguine. These are all Weeks colors. Pink sand, so close to sanguine. So that's the first one, Mary Griffin. This is going to be challenging. I'll put these over here. Stay. We'll see how long that lasts, how long it takes for that to hit the floor. The next one is a conversion, and it is, where is it? Here it is. It's a Teresa Kogut, Hope, Faith, Hope, Peace, Love. Isn't it beautiful, stitched on the straw? It really is. But, you know, I do what I want. And I have a conversion going. I'm just pulling out threads as I go. And that one is on 46 Count Eucalyptus by Fox and Rabbit. It's the other half of the Love Always by Plum Street. It's the other half of the fabric. And here is how far I am. So look at how those colors look on this eucalyptus. It's so pretty. So, so pretty. I love it. And so I've done something different. I've satin stitched, like there would be clavered siding, satin stitch across here. And then because on the straw, there were parts of the house that weren't stitched because the straw fabric comes through, which is smart, right? It makes sense from a design perspective. Well, I just cross-stitch those because I didn't want blue stripes on my house. So that's where I am on this one. There's a fair amount of stitching on this piece. Quite a bit. I mean, you've got a house and a big bouquet here and people and more flowers and all the good things. Things that I love, and I'm excited to start back on this one again. This is like Jenga. How many can you stack before it falls apart? The next, I'll talk about all the brunettes first. So the next one is another Teresa Kogut. It is Newcastle Bouquet. This is on the 46 count straw, 46 count straw that I borrowed from the top of Sarah Chapel. And I had the attic thread conversion. I did add one darker green. So, oops, I don't want to show you that. Don't see that side, see this side. This is a conversion. You can call the attic to get that. Here we go. Here is the actual piece. And don't those reds and greens look gorgeous on the straw? It's just the perfect fabric, I think, for this particular piece. I really, really like stitching on this, and I cannot wait to get back to this one. So here's another brunette. This one is Frisian Sampler by Modern Folk Embroidery. I printed this off of my computer, so the print quality is not that good. It's a red sampler. I'm stitching this on 36 count fawn by Lakeside, I think. And I'm stitching it with a Silks for You silk. Isn't that gorgeous? Look at how rich that is. Sorry. I don't do this for a living, so don't judge me. I love this one. It's so gorgeous. So gorgeous. And it has a Scottish sampler on the top that has the curly Q letters right here. And really it's a mirror image. So this side and this side are pretty much the same. But it doesn't bother me at all because this variegated red silk, I don't remember which PB it is, but it's their kind of Christmas red color if you go into Silks For You website. It's gorgeous. And I like, so you see, this will completely keep me engaged in my ribs. I mean, going back and forth between this and Mary Griffin, which is blues, and oh, I can't wait to stitch on these. I'm gonna have a hard time choosing, honestly. All right, Jenga puzzle. And the last brunette that I have is Live on Little by Plum Street. This came from the Farm Girl Dry Goods, I think it was the May retreat from this year. You watch for it to be released next year. That's what this one is. It's a big one. I mean, look at the size of that house. It's huge. I have been stitching on this one, so it's wider than my board here. Actually, I have a little bit bigger board over here. Let me see if I can do this. That's how wide it is. It's very wide. I shouldn't say very wide. It's nice and wide. This is on Hog Bristle by Fox and Rabbit, and I want to say it's 36 count. I'm not 100% sure. So you can see that I've stitched across. This is the edge here. And there's a lot of solid stitching. So you can see what I'm doing. I'm stitching a motif or an animal and I'm sectioning it off and then I'll just fill it in. So I'm not as much of a fill-in stitcher because I don't tend to stitch in hand a lot. I stitch two-handed on a Q-snap on a lap stand. But if you, like Michelle Rudy, love the fill-in stitching, you will love this pattern because there's a lot of it. There's a lot of fill-in. I'm working on the boat as well. So the boat's right here. There's a big section of blue in the middle, right between the boat and the house. And you can't see as well on the picture up here, but where my pinky is pointing, there is a star. And it's a golden color. It's over here. And I'm going to stitch like a reddish version in the middle of the blue. Because it's my pattern, or it's my project. It's Paulette's pattern. It's my project. I can do what I want with my project. Just saying, there's no cross-stitch police. Feel free to change what makes you happy. Those are the 5 brunettes that I have. Now, I'm going to grab the blondes here. The 5 blondes that I have. The first one is Midsummer Garden. And it is Vintage Tulip as a designer. I bought this through XG Designs. So she has had in the past this kit available. In fact, I think she kits it in 32, and I messaged her and asked her if she could do it in 40. And she said, of course I can, because she's amazing. Here are the gorgeous, gorgeous threads for this pattern. Oh, look at that. Are you dying? And I would say that like purple is not my go-to color, but it doesn't make me mad. I do like purple. Isn't she gorgeous? Isn't this, I mean, oh my gosh, it's so pretty. It's blowing out a little bit here for you because it's a cloudy day and I have some lighting up. So just know that it's not quite as bright. And actually, if I took this off, let's see what this does to it. Oh yeah, that's much better. Well, on my end it is. It's gorgeous. This goes quickly. I stitched most of this at a girls' weekend. I haven't stitched a lot on it since then. I think I stitched once for a little bit, but that was it. So Midsummer Garden is my first blonde. My next blonde, you'll recognize this, is Susan Rambo by Cross Point Designs. Michelle the Stripe Rose got me going on this, and man, I went whole hog for a while. And this is on the NPI silks. Oh, yep, super pretty. I want to say this is on 40 count fresco. In fact, I'm pretty sure it is. It has a hint of green on the background. It's a little bit darker in person than what you're seeing right now, but look at those colors. Aren't those fantastic? And I've done a lot of the heavy lifting on the bottom. I just have grass on the other side to do. And then it's just flowers from there on out and some cartouches, right? A couple of crazy squirrels, which I might change the colors on that. A duck. But a lot of the sort of very, I don't want to say boring, but just sort of the simple stitching. And look at that little crazy animal next to the vase. Isn't that awesome? He's awesome. So this is my my first blonde that I have on my list today. Excited to get back to that one. Here's one I've been stitching on recently. I've kind of gone back and forth between a couple. And that is out of the Blackbird Designs book for my friend. It is, and this is an old whip, you guys. It's this one, Love One Another. I did a complete change and I picked an even weave. I have a lot of overdyed like Jobelan and for my Mirabilias when I was really stitching a lot of Mirabilias, but this is a pink and very lightly modeled with a little bit of blue interspersed. And I'm using 2 Diki dye threads, Warlata, which is red, and Ruby, which is pink. These two here. I'm stitching 2 over 2. This is a 32 count. And I wasn't sure I was going to write Love One Another at the top, but I think I will. I probably will do the alphabet in the bottom. I think it will anchor it a little bit more. When I picked this up yesterday, I started working on this again, and I finished this motif. I just had a little bit left to do on that. I'd already stitched this. I stitched this one yesterday and this one, and I pulled, these are all eyelets, and I don't know what happened, but it was a hot mess. You know how a good eyelet has an open center and it's smooth and it looks beautiful. It's like when Salma Hayek is in a movie and she's got her hair slicked back in a bun and there's just not a thread out of place, right? Well, mine looked like Fraggle Rock. There was no opening. I don't know what the heck happened. So I spent probably 2 hours pulling that motif out yesterday and I restitched it. So let me just show you how it looks. See how beautiful and open those stitches are? Well, this one is a combination of rice stitches and eyelets. So I stitched this one and then I saw this one. I was like, there's no way I can leave that. So I pulled it out. It took a while and I stitched it during church this morning. So this one I plan to make into a wall hanging. So I bought some fabric, and when I'm done, I will just sew it into a wall hanging and it'll hang on my wall. Easy to store that way. Less expensive option for finishing. And this one won't take that long. So I'm hopeful to get this done. I'm going to be working on this one first, get this done and finish it in time for Valentine's Day, because y'all, Valentine's Day is only 2 months away. Well, a little less than 2 months away. What the heck? So for me, Valentine's Day and St. Patrick's Day absolutely sneak up on me. And they're here, and then all of a sudden it's gone. 2 more. This one I meant to stitch on this year. I didn't get to it. I don't know why. It's Rose Arbor by Mirabilia. It's probably 75% done. I don't know why I didn't work on it. I've decided that I'm going to probably try to complete one of my Mirabilia whips every year. That's doable, right? So that's something that is achievable in terms of goals. This is on a 32 count. I think it's maybe a Crafty Kitten Fabric of the Month. It's a beautiful green. It's a great choice for this particular design. I'll tell you, I do not love the crate neck that I stitched with, and I was going to pull it out and use Petite Treasure Braid, but I just pull all this up. I'm not doing that. I decided not to do that. I'm just going to suck it up, and finish it and get this other obelisk completed. And really, I just have a matching urn on this side and the rest of her dress, and then I'm done. Oh, I'm beading, and then I'm done. So isn't she so pretty? And I can't wait to get this done and send it to Jill Rensel. I'm just looking at my stuff and thinking, I need to continue to be disciplined because I have so many things that I love stitching on, and I need to finish some things. I had a good year for finishing big projects. I'm going to continue that into 2022. It's my goal. And when I set goals, get out of my way. I'm telling you, just saying. Last blonde I have in my rotation, I also have been working on. And this is what made me decide to pull 10 projects for the beginning of the year, because I really wanted to focus on Leeds House Sampler by Rosewood Manor. It is such a beautiful design. But I was stitching this, and I was stitching on Live on Little, which is the Plum Street big piece with the big house and the nautical scene. And after a couple of weeks of that, I was like, man, that's a lot of blue. I love blue, but that's a lot of blue stitching. So integrating these other projects helped break that up. And I find that I stitch like a fiend now. I'm going from project to project. I'm like, oh, I'm going to do these mini goals. I'm going to finish 5 sampler motifs, right? And I'm going to move to the next one. And I'm telling you, it's going to work out. This is how far I am. I do not know why I picked such a ginormous piece of linen. It's so big. Okay, I did start in the middle. And I did start in the middle. And this is, I still have the bottom here. So maybe it's not so big. But I think it was one of those situations where I had a piece of linen that would work. If I had moved it down, I might have had like, by the time you have framing, I'll probably have like 2 extra inches that I didn't need all around. So it will come out here and go down, come across. And again, it's about the same width here, over here. So that's as big as it will be on the bottom. And then it goes up to the top, and then it has the letters. So it's not a huge sampler. I mean, it's not huge, and it's a lot of fun to stitch. This is on sulky threads. I love the colors. I love stitching on it. I will say the sulky threads, you have to watch the little loops in the back. It happens like I have to look every 8 stitches, and maybe I should try some thread conditioner. Maybe that would help it. I think it's because it comes off of a spool. Maybe it does it because of that. I don't know. Those are the whips that I'm focusing on this next year, and I'm super excited. And that's just for the first few months of the year. I have a plan for summertime, and I have a few picked out for the fall, and so I am not planning any more ahead than that for now. And even those plans are tentative. So, okay. I just want to say a few thank yous to some people who sent me some goodies in the mail. Thank you from Deborah Rice. She sent a beautiful card. Look at this card. This kills me. How cool is that? And some licorice red from Classic Colorworks, because you always need licorice red. Thank you from Linda Meltz. She sent a really pretty Christmas card. You guys, I used to send Christmas cards every single year. I haven't for a few years. I think because my kids aren't here. This is from my friend Mary Lang from Florida. Thank you, Mary. That's a gorgeous Christmas card. Much appreciated. And thank you to, my friend Charlene. She sent me a beautiful birthday card. And a skein of Gloriana threads. Ooh, gorgeous. Thank you, Charlene. What else? Oh, and my friend, this might have come from Linda, sent also, was this from Linda? You guys, I'm disorganized here. It seems like this was from Linda. My apologies if I'm wrong. Yes, this is from Linda. She sent me this tin, Joy, and it had that, it's a hand-dyed ribbon and wools. I was like, what? Jackpot. Thank you, you, Linda. Appreciate that. And she also sent a tin of goodies of treats that were eaten immediately. So those are no longer with us. Now, this is the part where we talk a little bit about haul. I saw on Instagram, Blackbird Designs had an exclusive through Poulter Station. And I happened to see it and I thought, I'm going to call in the morning and make sure I get that. And then I forgot. And it was afternoon. I thought, oh, shoot, I sure hope they have it. And it was not advertised through a Facebook group. This was through Instagram. But look at this. This is a scissor keep. And it is just adorable. And this eagle had me with the red house. I mean, oh my gosh. So it's a kit. And it also comes with these Kelmscott scissors that are kind of viney with flowers. I don't know if you can see it very well because it's black. And so I love these. I'd never seen these before. Gorgeous. And it comes with the thread, the fabric, and the backing, or the backing fabric, which is what I love about Blackbird. They do their kits are excellent. I also had the last of the, I think this is the last of the Quaint Ladies Club through Dying to Stitch. Pineberry Lane's been the featured designer, and she had this gorgeous kit, this beautiful, beautiful Joyous Noel sampler. The goods in there. I about died when this came out last year in Australia. I think that was in Australia, wasn't it? This Joyous Season, I think it was. And I didn't order it, but as soon as it came out just a couple weeks ago, I ordered that. Teresa Kitten Stitcher also had some reprints of Exemplar Dames. I'm like, who is this? This is Exemplar Dames. This is Prosperity and Peace. I think I might stitch these together. Maybe I'll stitch them on 2 pillows or flat folds to be put together. Maybe on, I'm not sure. I might change the colors on there too. I really liked them because A, they're Quakers, and B, they're kind of pink and red. Also, I bought a couple punch needles. Well, I bought a punch needle, a CTR, which is recommended by Teresa Kogut, and some, so this is a CTR punch. I have the Ultra Punch, and I've got plans for punch needle this year. Just like I had plans for applique this in 2021, which I didn't do, but I have plans for punch needle in 2022. I picked up this pattern, and I want to say it's through the, it might have been Fat Quarter Shop. I don't remember. And some seam guide from my sewing machines, my sewing machine. This is the last of the Scattered Sampler Design Club kits. I love these. So I keep getting these, and I keep not stitching them because I'm trying to work my whips down. So there is so much to stitch on. I just got to keep stitching as fast as I can. I picked up this one. I saw this on eBay. I can't remember if I've seen this elsewhere. This is Stitches Through Time. And I love this. Look at that. The simplicity and the beauty. Come all ye faithful. Now, I don't have plans to start a lot of things next year, but I do have 2 or 3. And honestly, things are going to come out and I'm going to be like, oh, I got to stitch that. But I know that I have one fairly big piece that I don't have completed yet. It is, I'm going to wait to talk about it until I get ready to start it. But this is a piece of 46 count but vintage buttercream. I got it through Tinsmith's Wife. It's a fat half. It's huge. So this is what I love. I called them. They're so nice there. Her husband must work there. I'm not sure who answered the phone. But I asked if they had it, and he looked in the computer and he asked his wife, and it didn't seem like they had it. So they said, well, do you want us to order it? I said, sure. And an hour later, he calls and he says, guess what? The mail came today, and there was a fat half of 46 count vintage buttercream. Do you want it? Yes, I do. I definitely want it. Thank you. They're super fast too, service. Only two more things. See, we gotta make up some time here. Made by hand. This is a designer. I think it's Dawn Heese. She and Bonnie Sullivan are doing an exclusive club through Facebook. You sign up through either Bonnie's new newsletter or Dawn's newsletter. They have, I'm going to put this on the back here. This down here are the two websites you can sign up for this exclusive kit. And what it is, it's wool applique, or it's applique or wool applique. I think I've seen them doing wool. This is the design, the way it looks. I don't know if you can see this very well. You can go onto Bonnie's, I think Bonnie's Instagram page. Just put in Bonnie Sullivan or Dawn Heese, which is made by hand. And what they're doing is every month you pay $10 and you'll get one of the designs in the quilt, one of the blocks, and you also get some extras. It does not include, it's not a kit, it's just the design. So they're doing two different colorways, but I've seen the sneak peeks and I about died. I was so pretty, so pretty. So that is on my, that's on my list of things for next year. So this is something that I plan to join. Dawn Heese showed on her Instagram page and this is All Through the Night Designs, I think is what it's, I'm not sure if that's her design name, or I'll put it down below here. I'll do some research, but she had this beautiful applique quilt in Simply Vintage, and she had it linked in her, she's smart, her Instagram had a link tree, and you could go in and buy this book from her, this magazine. But there's nothing about this pattern that I don't love. It is so pretty. Let me see if I can find the actual full-size picture. I'm not sure where it is. There was a lot of good stuff in this magazine. Oh, look at this. Punch needle. Are you dying? How stinking adorable is that? And then punch needle part 2. In case you need a crazy Christmas sweater, you can make that. Rachel, I'm talking to you. Rachel from Floss Toss is a punch needle phenom. I don't intend to do a flip through the book here. I just was hoping to show you a full-size picture of the quilt. I'm not sure if they... Oh, here we go. Is that not gorgeous? I love this. Love it, love it, love it. You could change the background. It wouldn't have to be this colorway. You could do something that's more you. I could see doing like a light, like a tan background, and changing your urn to like a black or a chocolate color, changing your heart down here to red, switching it up completely. Yes, I love it. And the last thing I have for today is a friend, a local stitcher, sent me a link to Facebook, a posting yesterday, and said, look at this. It's too far for me. What do you think? And, you know, I'm letting you know in case you're interested. And there was a woman in a town that's about 45 minutes to an hour away from me. Depends on traffic. Traffic was terrible yesterday. I reached out to her Friday night. She was on late, and she's like, yeah, you know, if you want to come up and see it, no problem. So it was like $65. It was nothing. The frame was worth it. So I picked it up because I'm saving the stitches, right? This is Julia Inns, age 11, 1900. Now, I'll tell you what I love. I love that bee. a green bee makes me happy. And the colors in this are fantastic. The other thing she did, she's age 11, she did a herringbone stitch on the side here, and she hem stitched it. So if Julia, who's age 11, can hem stitch, I think we can do it too. Just thought I would share that. So this is a nice hefty frame too. I hope you have a great Christmas. I hope the blessings of the season are heaped on you. And if you're going through a tough time, it can be difficult in the holidays. I just pray for you that you are overwhelmed with love, because in a world where the media and the world around us wants to tell us about all the things that are going wrong, there is so much more in the world that's going right. May you be truly blessed in this season. Have a great day.